My biggest concern with Charlie as a patient is substance abuse and depression from the disease more than what the HIV virus could do in terms of shortening his life, because it's not going.
Few actors have experienced Hollywood's heights and pitfalls quite like Charlie Sheen. From acclaimed roles that defined a generation of television to headline-making moments that shocked fans worldwide, his life story is as turbulent as it is fascinating. Have you ever wondered what really lies behind the headlines about one of the most controversial figures in entertainment? Behind the glitz of awards and hit shows is a complex narrative filled with personal struggles and public scandals that defy simple explanation. In this video, I'll take you beyond the surface to explore the key moments and controversies that have shaped Charlie Sheen's unique and often misunderstood journey. Legal issues and media attention. As Charlie Sheen's personal struggles grew more intense, his legal troubles also escalated, drawing heavy media attention. From assault allegations to domestic disputes, several incidents led to police involvement and court appearances. These situations blurred the line between celebrity gossip and serious legal matters, while the media frenzy surrounding them only amplified the drama and fueled public fascination. One of his earliest legal issues surfaced in the mid-1990s, bringing negative headlines but no lasting convictions. Over time, however, the frequency and seriousness of these incidents increased. Repeated court appearances, restraining orders, and settlements became common, shaping a pattern that was difficult to ignore and steadily damaging his public image. These legal battles often overlapped with turbulent relationships, making the situation even more complicated. High-profile breakups and personal conflicts frequently played out in public, with Sheen cast as a central figure in ongoing disputes. As a result, attention shifted away from his acting career and toward his ability to manage his personal life. Media coverage played a major role in shaping this narrative. Tabloids and news outlets capitalized on his unpredictability, often turning legal proceedings into entertainment. The line between fact and speculation became blurred, creating a distorted image where personal struggles were packaged as scandal. This exposure brought both attention and criticism, reinforcing his reputation as a controversial figure. Public reaction was divided. Some expressed concern for his well-being, while others criticized his actions as examples of celebrity excess. The situation highlighted how media portrayal can influence public perception, especially when dealing with personal crises. At times, Sheen's own interviews and provocative comments added to the chaos, making it unclear whether he was pushing back against the narrative or fueling it. This tension only deepened public curiosity and prolonged the media cycle. The legal issues also had clear consequences for his career. He faced suspensions, contract disputes, and financial penalties tied to off-screen behavior. These challenges strained relationships with studios, producers, and co-stars, limiting his professional opportunities. Balancing personal struggles with professional responsibilities became an ongoing challenge. Despite the pressure, Sheen occasionally responded with humor and defiance, using interviews to regain some sense of control. While this approach sometimes worked, it also backfired, drawing more scrutiny and concern about his stability. The ongoing tension between media portrayal and his responses highlighted how complicated celebrity crises can become. Ultimately, this period marked a turning point. His legal troubles and media presence became deeply intertwined, each feeding into the other. The combined pressure of fame, scrutiny, and personal issues created a public unraveling that showed just how difficult it is to separate private struggles from life in the spotlight. The unfolding legal dramas and relentless headlines cast a shadow that loomed over his later career, transforming the way the public and industry alike saw Charlie Sheen. These consequences would ripple into his personal relationships and the deeper controversies waiting on the horizon. The rise of a Hollywood star. Charlie Sheen's entrance into the world of acting felt almost inevitable, given his early exposure to Hollywood. Born in 1965, as the son of actor Martin Sheen, he was surrounded by the film industry from a young age. His first credited role came when he was only 9 years old, in the movie Red Dawn, released in 1984. Early on, his charm and talent caught the attention of casting directors, setting the stage for a promising career. Throughout the late 1980s and early 1990s, Sheen appeared in several popular films such as Platoon, Wall Street, and Young Guns. These roles helped establish him as a dependable lead actor, able to handle intense, dramatic parts. However, alongside his growing film career, Sheen also began to embrace television, a movie that would eventually define his mainstream popularity. What made Sheen stand out was a blend of charisma and a raw edge that captivated audiences across genres. The true turning point arrived in 2003 when he was cast as Charlie Harper in the television sitcom 2.5 Men. The show quickly became a ratings juggernaut and made Sheen a household name on a scale that few actors in his generation matched. His portrayal of the witty, carefree bachelor brought a refreshing energy and humor that resonated widely. It was also a role that seemed to mirror aspects of his own complicated personality, adding to the public's fascination. Despite this early success, questions and rumors about Sheen's off-screen life began swirling, but never quite clouded his professional gains. There was a curiosity about how such a steady career could coexist with the whispers of personal struggles. Yet Sheen appeared able to keep his spotlight focused on work, if only for a time. The tension between his public and private life hinted at troubles that would soon surface more openly. The whole balance between fame and chaos was kind of fragile, like it could snap any minute. For all the accolades and the commercial success, the contrast between Sheen's polished performances and that unpredictable, erratic behavior was pretty noticeable to some insiders. And this odd duality made people sort of sense an aura of mystery around him. Viewers, plus people in the industry, kept asking, where? Eventually, that line would get crossed. There was this feeling that underneath the laughter and those bright lights, there was a more turbulent story just waiting to show up. In that phase, Sheen's raw talent acted like a shield, at least from some of the harsher judgments celebrities often get when personal problems start to spill into the public eye. Fans stayed loyal, because the humor and the vulnerability in his performances felt real. But that loyalty would get tested as time went on, and the off-screen controversies became impossible to ignore. Still, this early period was foundational. It showed how he could succeed in one of the most unforgiving entertainment markets on the planet. His ability to captivate audiences seemed almost unstoppable, but there was also a quiet current of tension underneath it all, the kind that quietly sets up later problems. No doubt, Charlie Sheen had arrived as a major name in Hollywood, but the story of his career was not going to follow a normal path. The public had watched him rise higher than most, yet the real difficulties were only starting to surface. This initial climb, powered by talent and opportunity, really planted seeds for both admiration and controversy. While fans celebrated the work, some insiders and journalists started looking past the performances like there was something else happening in the background. If you study his background and origins, you can start to see how the influences around him shaped not only the career but also the difficult road that came after. Though Charlie had achieved remarkable popularity, the forces that shaped his personality and choices were rooted much deeper, inside complex family ties and early experiences that helped define who he truly was. Family legacy and early influences. Charlie Sheen was born Carlos Erwin Estevez, and from the start, his family life was steeped in the performing arts. His father, Martin Sheen, was already an established actor with a career that included iconic roles and a reputation for activism. The Sheen household valued both artistic expression and strong personal values, which shaped Charlie's upbringing. But living in the shadow of such a successful and socially conscious parent created both inspirations and pressures. Growing up, Charlie witnessed firsthand the dedication and discipline that acting demanded, but he also saw its challenges. His father's steady professionalism contrasted with the more reckless impulses that Charlie would later reveal in his own life. In addition to his father's influence, Charlie was shaped by his siblings, some of whom also pursued acting careers. This environment fostered a strong connection to the industry from an early age. His mother, Janet Templeton, came from a background quite different from the Hollywood scene, adding another layer to the family dynamic. The blending of these diverse influences made for a complicated but rich childhood landscape. Family discussions, disputes, and support all played roles in how Charlie developed emotionally and socially. This duality of support and expectation laid the groundwork for his later struggles and successes. During his adolescence, Sheen began taking on roles that mirrored some of his own family challenges. His participation in school events, local theater, and small auditions showed an ambition that mixed natural talent with a desire to prove himself. Despite opportunities, he also experienced the typical conflicts of growing up in a family both famous and intensely private. These experiences created emotional complexities that would surface in his adult life. The cultural context of the 1970s and 1980s also played a part in shaping Sheen's worldview. Growing up during a time of shifting social norms and media evolution exposed him to both traditional values and more rebellious ideas. This exposure influenced his attitude toward fame, success, and self-expression. His later public persona often reflected this tension between conventional and countercultural forces. Moreover, the family's Catholic roots put these expectations on conduct and ethics that Charlie kept running into, like he could not quite sit with it. The whole clash between how he was raised and what he chose to do sparked internal messiness, so navigating his identity felt harder than it should. The push-pull between faith, fame, and personal freedom kept showing up again and again across his adult years. Really, understanding those roots matters if you want to see the person under the headlines, not just the noise around them. Also, beyond his immediate family, Charlie Sheen's links to Hollywood's social circles seemed to pull him into the brightness and the sheer indulgence of celebrity culture early. Parties, photo shoots, and industry happenings were kind of baked into his formative years, and that made a lifestyle many people would find difficult seem normal, almost routine. That kind of exposure, it likely fed into the later patterns of behavior that fascinated some and worried others. Even so, Sheen early on still showed some signs of focus and determination. He tried to carve out his own spot in entertainment, separate from his father's legacy, like he wanted recognition without always leaning on the Martin Sheen comparison. The ambition showed confidence, sure, but also this steady appetite to be seen on his own terms, not only as Martin Sheen's son. Still, that quest got tangled with personal demons and outside pressures, so it never stayed clean or straightforward. So, the blend of family heritage, the early contact with fame, and the contrast between personal values, it shaped that distinctive, sometimes contradictory personality Charlie Sheen has displayed across his life and career. The successes and challenges of his formative years offer a lens through which to view his career highlights, and the public persona he cultivated over time, career highlights and public persona. Charlie Sheen's acting career is marked by two defining qualities: memorable performances and an unmistakable personal brand. Early in his career, films such as Platoon and Wall Street positioned him as a serious actor capable of portraying intense, gritty characters. These roles earned critical acclaim and established Sheen as more than just a celebrity figure. His ability to bring complexity to his characters garnered respect within Hollywood circles. At the same time, Sheen's move to television broadened his reach dramatically. His role on Spin City began his association with network sitcoms, but it was 2.5 Men that truly catapulted him into the mainstream spotlight. The show's success was unprecedented, making it one of the highest-rated comedies for years, largely due to Sheen's charismatic performance. His portrayal of a hedonistic bachelor with a vulnerable streak resonated widely. Off-screen, Sheen developed a flamboyant and sometimes unpredictable public persona that both intrigued and alarmed fans and media alike. His charm, quick wit, and rebellious attitude made him a magnet for both admiration and controversy. Interviews and public appearances often highlighted his sharp humor, but also revealed glimpses of deeper instability. This blend created a complicated image. The public perception of Sheen as a brilliant but troubled star was fueled by both genuine incidents and tabloid sensationalism. His reputation for erratic behavior, partying, and clashes with colleagues became a frequent storyline. Yet many fans remained fiercely loyal, appreciating his honesty and unique energy. The push and pull between adoration and criticism reflected the complexity of his persona. In many ways, Sheen's career cannot be separated from the image he cultivated publicly. His willingness to speak candidly about his struggles contributed to a perception of authenticity rare in Hollywood. At the same time, this openness sometimes exacerbated his challenges, leading to very public setbacks. His personal life became a subject of fascination as much as his acting roles. Sheen's work ethic and talent were sometimes kinda glossed over by the sensational headlines, but the people close to him kept saying it was his professionalism that showed up on set. Directors and co-stars have pointed out that he could go from hard partying to intense focus. And this kind of split duality really was the thing that shaped a lot of his career. It was like a paradox that made him both a valuable collaborator and at the same time a personality that was not exactly easy to steer. Even with all the controversies piling up, Charlie Sheen's legacy still holds memorable contributions to film and television, and they keep nudging the industry in different ways. His performances had that mix of depth and humor in characters that were already pretty layered, and his distinctive style pulled him away from many of his contemporaries. Sure, his career path wasn't the straightest line, but it still left a lasting imprint. His public image, built out of contradictions and charisma, is part of why he turned into such a magnetic figure in entertainment. People seem to react to both the craft and the chaotic life story, which unfolded like a cautionary fable on a stage that couldn't look away. So that mix of career momentum with such a highly visible personal life created this current that not many actors have had to face, and it basically set the stage for the problems that would surface even more later on. This interplay between his achievements and struggles leads directly into the next chapter of his life, where personal difficulties began to deeply affect his world. Substance abuse struggles. The challenges Charlie Sheen faced with substance use became increasingly visible as his career progressed. Reports of heavy drinking and partying surfaced repeatedly, often overshadowing his professional achievements. Though Sheen seldom discussed these struggles openly in his early years, glimpses into his lifestyle raised concerns among friends and colleagues. This pattern suggested a growing difficulty managing the pressures of fame alongside the temptations of Hollywood excess. Throughout the 1990s and into the 2000s, Sheen's behavior at times seemed unpredictable, marked by erratic decisions and public incidents. These episodes sometimes resulted in interruptions to his work, including missed filming days and conflicts with production staff. The intensity of his lifestyle left many wondering how long his career could withstand such volatility. Nevertheless, Sheen continued to deliver memorable performances, underscoring a complex mix of talent and vulnerability. Industry insiders often commented on the tension between Sheen's professional dedication and his personal challenges. In some circles, he was admired for his ability to compartmentalize, showing up on set prepared despite ongoing struggles. However, others pointed out that his damaging choices increasingly interfered with his reliability. This dichotomy of brilliance and instability became a defining characteristic of his public life. There were also moments when Sheen attempted to confront his difficulties more directly. He entered rehabilitation programs multiple times over the years, demonstrating an awareness of his situation and willingness to seek help. These attempts, however, were met with varying degrees of success, reflecting the complicated nature of overcoming deeply ingrained habits. The public watched closely, torn between sympathy and skepticism. His relationship with substance use was often depicted in the tabloids with sensational headlines, but the reality was far more nuanced. his struggles were linked to underlying emotional pain, personal loss, and long-standing pressures from the entertainment world. These contributing factors offered a broader understanding of why his behavior sometimes spiraled beyond control. Still, the consequences remained significant for both his health and career. As the media coverage got louder, Sheen's problems around substances started to sit right at the center of the bigger story about his life. A lot of people went from a kind of curious, casual interest to real, serious concern, pushed along by episodes that were reported again and again. Arrests, hospital visits, and all that. The whole thing also made people look at him with more scrutiny, and that's where it got messy. There was empathy mixed in with judgment, depending on who was watching, fans and critics both. Still, for many it ended up kind of humanizing him, like you could see his weak spots under the celebrity shine. Even with the personal turmoil, he kept a certain kind of resilience. He kept returning to work, and you could spot little sparks of his old energy here and there. This loop of difficulty and comeback gave his story a tragic weight. Each return felt like a new opening, or renewal, or whatever, but then setbacks would show up, and it would again throw off the people closest to him. The unpredictability made his path feel like non-stop highs and lows, not in a neat line but in a constant wobble. In the end, Sheen's substance troubles were not random scenes, more like part of a wider net of issues tangled up in his day-to-day. These challenges shaped how he dealt with other people, how he took on fame, and how he managed his health too. They also ended up fueling some of the controversies that later grabbed headlines as his life kept unfolding. If you want the full picture behind his public persona, it helps to understand that struggle too. The collision of personal difficulties with increasing legal troubles soon thrust Sheen into the spotlight for reasons far beyond his acting roles, bringing his private battles into the public arena like never before. Personal relationships and marriages. Charlie Sheen's personal life has long been defined by intense, highly public relationships that often reflected the same volatility seen in his career. He has been married 3 times, with each relationship drawing heavy media attention. While there were moments of happiness, these unions were frequently turbulent and added to the controversies surrounding him. Public scrutiny amplified every high and low, making his private life a constant headline. His first marriage to Donna Peel in 1995 was short-lived, ending after just a year. The quick breakup set the tone for a pattern of brief, unstable partnerships. In 2002, Sheen married actress Denise Richards, and the couple had 2 daughters. Their relationship initially appeared stable, but it eventually unraveled after 5 years, with reports of infidelity and ongoing personal struggles. Following that split, Sheen married Brooke Mueller in 2008. Their relationship was marked by conflict and legal issues, ending in divorce only 2 years later. They had twin sons together, adding further complexity to his already challenging family life. This cycle of marriage, conflict, and separation played out in public, often raising concern among observers. Beyond marriage, Sheen was involved in several high-profile relationships and brief romances. These connections frequently fueled tabloid coverage and sometimes led to legal disputes. His fast-paced lifestyle often blended with his romantic decisions, reinforcing a narrative of instability that followed him for years. The emotional weight of these relationships appeared to influence his public behavior and career choices. Breakups, reconciliations, and shifting friendships created a sense of unpredictability, mirroring the ups and downs he experienced professionally. Fans and critics alike struggled to separate the real person from the image portrayed in the media. Despite the chaos, Sheen often expressed deep affection for his children and described family as a central part of his identity. Custody battles and parenting challenges added further pressure, but they also revealed a more vulnerable side of him. His efforts to remain present in his children's lives showed a desire for stability, even when circumstances made it difficult. At the same time, the intense focus on his relationships raised broader questions about privacy and media intrusion. Attempts to keep parts of his life out of the spotlight often failed under relentless paparazzi attention. This created a strained relationship with both the press and the public. Ultimately, the pattern of dramatic relationships became a defining element of Sheen's story, blurring the line between personal struggles and public persona, and highlighting the complex mix of affection, chaos, and constant scrutiny that shaped his life. These personal entanglements set the stage for one of the most notorious and publicized periods in Sheen's life, when the pressures culminated in a highly visible and unprecedented unraveling. The 2011 public meltdown. The year 2011 became a major turning point in Charlie Sheen's life, marked by a series of public outbursts that quickly turned into global headlines. After years of underlying struggles, his behavior erupted into a highly visible meltdown that stunned both fans and the entertainment industry. His erratic interviews, bold claims, and clashes with the media created a spectacle rarely seen in Hollywood, as audiences watched a once-beloved star unravel in real time. A key moment came when Sheen was fired from the hit sitcom 2.5 Men after ongoing conflicts with the production team and disruptive behavior on set. The decision shocked many, as the show had been central to his career comeback. His departure symbolized the breaking point, where personal struggles overtook professional stability. In the aftermath, Sheen gave a series of unforgettable interviews filled with provocative statements. He introduced phrases like "tiger blood" and "winning," which quickly spread through pop culture. While confusing to some, these remarks reflected a man trying to maintain control through confidence and defiance. At the same time, his openness about his struggles added a layer of raw honesty beneath the chaos. Beyond the spectacle, a deeper reality was unfolding. Sheen acknowledged battles with addiction and mental health, though often in unconventional ways. His candor pushed conversations about celebrity pressure and the stigma around these issues into the spotlight. For some, this vulnerability made him more relatable, revealing the human side behind the headlines. However, the meltdown brought serious personal and legal consequences. Family tensions, court issues, and constant media attention strained many of his relationships. Friendships and professional ties suffered, and trust eroded, showing how a public collapse can ripple through every aspect of life. Amid the turmoil, Sheen entered treatment programs multiple times, signaling attempts to regain control and rebuild. Progress was inconsistent, marked by both setbacks and moments of hope. This back and forth became a defining feature of that period, highlighting how recovery is rarely straightforward. Public reaction remained divided. Some expressed empathy and support, while others responded with doubt or criticism. His story became a cautionary tale about the pressures of fame and the risks of unchecked celebrity culture. Even so, Sheen remained a compelling figure. His ability to capture attention never faded, keeping him at the center of public conversation. Ultimately, his 2011 meltdown became more than just a scandal. It evolved into a broader reflection on fame, personal struggle, and the complicated path toward redemption. Ultimately, the 2011 meltdown was a public reckoning that forced Charlie Sheen and the world around him to confront the complicated reality behind the headlines. The drama revealed not just a fall, but also the enduring complexity of a man struggling to find his way amid extraordinary pressures, recovery efforts, and later life. After the highly publicized meltdown in 2011, Charlie Sheen began a long, uneven journey toward recovery and rebuilding his life. Recognizing the need for change, he entered multiple rehabilitation programs to address substance use and emotional struggles. Progress wasn't always steady, but these efforts marked a turning point, showing a clear willingness to face his past more constructively. His recovery wasn't just about addiction, it also involved confronting his mental health. Sheen spoke openly about mood disorders and the pressure that came with fame, helping normalize conversations around these issues. That honesty revealed a more vulnerable side of him, one searching for stability after years of chaos, and gradually reshaped how the public viewed him. During this period, he stepped away from the constant spotlight and leaned into a quieter, more private life. Much of his focus shifted to his children and close family, rebuilding relationships that had been strained. That reconnection gave him a stronger sense of purpose outside of Hollywood and reflected a genuine effort toward personal growth. Professionally, Sheen slowed down. He took on occasional film and television roles, but avoided the intense, high-pressure projects that once defined his career. This more controlled approach suggested a shift in priorities, balancing work with his well-being rather than chasing constant exposure. Public reaction remained mixed. Some people doubted the sincerity of his progress, given his past, while others appreciated his openness and effort to improve. At the same time, broader attitudes toward mental health and addiction were evolving, making his story feel more relatable and less judged. He also became involved in advocacy and philanthropic efforts tied to recovery and mental wellness. By sharing his experiences in interviews, he helped raise awareness and encouraged others to seek help. This added a new dimension to his legacy, moving beyond the controversies that once defined him. Still, his recovery was far from perfect. There were setbacks, and media attention occasionally pulled elements of his past back into focus. Even so, the overall direction pointed toward greater self-awareness and accountability. In more recent years, Sheen has emphasized health, spirituality, and personal stability. His story reflects an ongoing process, not a clean resolution, but a continued effort to find balance. Ultimately, his journey highlights a simple truth: recovery isn't linear, but progress is still possible, even under constant public scrutiny, criticism, and public expectation. Charlie Sheen's life is a powerful mix of talent, turmoil, and transformation. His story reminds us that behind every headline is a complex human experience worth understanding. If you found this journey insightful, please like the video and subscribe for more deep dives into fascinating lives and stories.